Multinational pharmaceutical companies have seen an improvement in their public standing during 2020. Their corporate reputations have improved as we've wrestled with how to deal with the international pandemic. So people have come to understand that Big Pharma is very much part of the solution when it comes to developing, manufacturing and distributing vaccines and medicines. It prompted one leading patient advocate to comment recently that when it comes to developing, manufacturing and distributing vaccines and medicines, there's really only one game in town, and that, in fact, is Big Pharma. So this has triggered lots of discussions now about what pharmaceutical companies need to do to continue to build this positive corporate reputation moving forward. You hear people speculating about what companies need to do in the post-COVID world. It's almost as if they're suggesting everything's changed and all of the research and the thinking and the foundations that have gone before are irrelevant. But I think the foundations are very much the same, even if we do now start to see them through a slightly different lens. I've written previously about the foundations on which positive corporate reputations are built, and I think they are as relevant now as ever. The first element is the demonstration of innovation, and clearly there's enormous potential for that now in the way that COVID-19 vaccines and treatments are being developed. Next is transparency, not just around pricing and relationships with third parties, but also around the efficacy of medicines and vaccines, because clearly as consumers, we've all got a vested interest in that. Third is content and contribution, because companies are assessed as being innovative not just on what they do and what projects they sponsor, but also on the way they communicate those developments. So people are looking at what platforms companies are using, how frequently they're communicating, and what kind of tone they're using in those communications programs. Next is support for the less fortunate. And here again, there are huge opportunities for pharmaceutical companies to show and demonstrate this through the way they make medicines and vaccines available around the world. There's clear, tangible and quantifiable evidence that a demonstration of concern for the less fortunate really does help to build corporate reputation. And the final element is effective issues management. I mean, we're in a very unpredictable time, and people understand that companies can't control every global development, but companies can control how they respond. And companies that are seen as slow and focused on financial implications will be judged accordingly, whereas companies that are nimble and patient-centric are the ones that will build positive corporate reputations as they deal with the crises and the issues that they face. So there they are, my top tips for developing a positive corporate reputation in the pharmaceutical and biotech sector. In a way, not that much has changed. The companies that stick to the basics and do these elements well are the ones that are going to build positive reputations.